This is an abbreviated prequel to the Ridgefield Inland Wetland Board's possibly final deliberation on application IWB 23-60 Ethan Allen Highway at their special meeting on August 31. The development of 71 townhouses and 21 apartments on 27 acres, where Ethan Allen Highway intersects with Route 35. This includes 2.2 acres currently owned by the town of Ridgefield. The application was received on March 9, followed by a site walk on April 18 and 7 public hearings on April 27, May 11 and 25, June 8 and 22, and July 13 and 27, when the public hearing was closed. Deliberations commenced on August 10 and concluded with a consensus of the Inland Wetlands Board to deny the application and instructions to the staff to prepare a resolution of denial for their next meeting on August 24th.
Well, perhaps I will just speak for a second. It's really a question for Mr. Beecher. If we were to draft an approval, could one of the conditions be that we require a much more robust planting of trees within that upland review area, which is being impacted, rather than the current plan, which has essentially just a lot of seed mixes? I'm just asking the question. Is that something that we could do, or is that something that the applicant obviously would have to amend a plan? So I guess that's my question.
Well, technically you could, but whether that's a slippery slope for the board to take, because you really should articulate what you want planted and where you want them planted and why you want them planted, and why you want them planted based on the evidence in the record, whether it's from Mr. Pollack or someone else, that is a basis for you putting that condition in the approval.
Right.
In other words, we're putting this condition in the approval because, according to Mr. Pollack, if we increase the plantings in this area specifically, that will be an improvement and that will mitigate damage to the water course or the wetland. I don't know that. I'm just saying that if you're going to go down that road, you're going to have some substance behind it, including evidence in the record.
Right, and that's not something we typically do, even on smaller applications.
That's why I said earlier, you don't want to take it upon yourself to become engineers and redesign the project, even if some of you may be qualified.
Well, I'm only asking the question because we, as a board, we have approved other projects, which are obviously much smaller in scope, and where we have required planted mitigation areas for impacts within the upland review area. And I'm just throwing that out. That's all.
And that's why I said yes, you can. It's just a matter of whether on this application you're going to get yourself into the weeds, no pun intended.
And I think we've often been pretty specific with applicants on smaller projects as to exactly what we want and where we want it. And it's only a matter of them getting back to Caleb with this tree versus that tree.
Right. The planting plan.
The actual plan, which shows what we had asked for.
Right. And you've
specifically.
And when you've said that, you've also said, we want this and here's where, and this is why.
Right. It seems to me that we have reached a consensus that this will be a draft denial resolution. Okay.
If you're asking me, I would concur.
I'm nodding my head yes.
All right, we're not taking a formal vote, but I'm gathering that that's the consensus here.
It's not a vote. We're giving direction.
It's giving direction, and also when a draft is prepared, it's not set in stone, so final adjustments to it could be made at the final meeting prior to voting.
Correct.
But I think we're going to make an attempt to get it in writing as to the specifics of it and get it out to the board as quickly as possible, to the board and the public, I guess. And that's it. I appreciate everyone's obvious careful consideration of the project that was evidenced in this meeting. Everyone came prepared. That was terrific. Am I hearing any further or anything further, or am I adjourning? Okay, hearing nothing further, the meeting is adjourned.
There can be little room for any misunderstanding of these instructions, as they were clearly recorded in the meeting minutes. Decisions to deny are rare and must conform to inland wetland and watercourse regulations as outlined in Section 10.2, and Section 10.3 is clear that permits shall not be issued where the board finds that no prudent and feasible alternative exists, and must list all of the reasons on the record for the denial. But a funny thing happened between the meetings on August 10 and August 24. Here's a brief clip from the August 24 meeting.
Attorney Beecher.
Yeah, thank you. I just discovered that the board hasn't received some draft resolutions that were prepared. And that's kind of important because the staff
Okay.
spent a lot of
Very
time.
important.
And I had an opportunity to review both a draft resolution of approval with conditions and a draft resolution of denial. And if the board is able to schedule a special meeting between now and the 31st, I think that might be the better way to go, because I did not realize until today that you did not get those resolutions to review beforehand, which obviously would make life a lot easier. So it would be my suggestion, if you're able to do it, to schedule a special meeting on this particular matter.
So I will open up to the board for and staff for suggestions and thoughts on a special meeting to have the discussion with the two documents that Attorney Beecher referred to in hand and time to review. Given the fact that today is Thursday, the 24th, I think how quickly Artie and Caleb can the board receive those documents, or Attorney Beecher, whoever has them.
Well, you could have them probably as early as tonight, but you would have them tomorrow. So just to be clear, any question, I mean, the board should talk about when they might want to meet. If the board can meet on the 31st, and I'm available, then that makes it moot.
Then I'll go back to the board and confirm, get everyone's opinion on whether or not August 31st, shall we say 6 p.m., similar to the last time, would work for board members, or do you want to stick with 7?
I think 7 was the concern.
Okay.
7th would be better for me.
Okay, very good. I don't think we need a vote for that, do we?
No, so we'll have a quorum, right?
Yeah. The 31st works for me.
31st.
So Alan's,
Okay.
yeah.
It works for me.
Thumbs up
Okay.
from Chris and Dave,
Okay,
Is,
Carson, Tracy.
and
is-
hopefully Susan will be back too.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
you gonna be back?
I'm not sure when she's back, but I believe it
She
was
should,
only a week or so.
right.
Okay. Okay, so we're all set with those two meetings moving forward as they relate to this application.
Instead of preparing and distributing the draft resolution of denial, 2 resolutions were drafted, one of denial and one of approval with conditions. As these 2 documents had not been shared with the board, a special and presumably final meeting was scheduled for August 31st. Could this have been a deliberate act of sabotage, or a boneheaded failure to follow instructions as given by the elected board? But instead of a resolution of denial, this is what the Inland Wetlands Board received from its staff and attorney. Preparing the draft resolution of approval with conditions strongly implies that a prudent and feasible alternative exists and totally undermines the Inland Wetlands Board's case, should the applicant choose to appeal to the court. The denial states its case, clearly its well-founded reasons for its denial, including requests made by the board that were unaddressed, and therefore denies the application as submitted in its final form. So what happened? Where this unauthorized or requested draft resolution possibly come from? Was it Caleb Johnson, the new Inland Wetlands agent who was just hired in February? Or possibly Tom Beecher, the Inland Wetland Board's counsel? Or was it someone in Town Hall, desperate to salvage a sales agreement of an abandoned sewage station in the middle of this proposed development? Perhaps the purchase of the town owned land for $441,000 was a factor. The sales contract is completely contingent on the purchaser and applicant receiving all of the necessary regulatory approvals for building 74 units on the compilation of 5 parcels, including the town's abandoned sewage station. Any denial at any level is deemed to be final and negate the contract. This serves as a rather harsh carrot and stick over the town's regulatory bodies. This sets the stage for a dramatic climax to this application at the Inland Wetlands Board's special meeting on August 31st, just to finalize their decision.
This is Kurt Carr, on the record. Thank you for watching.